Hello, YouTube. Now, this is the story of a young man, just 10 years old, trying to find his way to live his life. And he's just entering school because he was homeschooled all his life. Not a bad thing. I do homeschool. And there's just one big problem in his way. A really stupid movie with a really stupid premise. This is Jack. Yeah, as you can tell, I don't like this movie. I never really liked it. I just thought it was a really stupid idea. Like, Robin Williams is a 10-year-old kid. It's not like a voiceover work or anything. No, it's just like he has the body of a 40-year-old man and the voice of a 40-year-old man, so Robin Williams can play the part. It doesn't make any sense. But I guess to talk about more, I will have to go into the story. So, yeah, here we go. Okay, so the story is that two soon-to-be parents are at some party. No reason, they just are. They're just there. They don't really have a point with this party later. Nothing happens. Don't even really say why they're there. They just like to go to parties, I guess. Or Francis Ford Coppola just wanted a weird opening. So apparently the wife who is pregnant is now about ready to have her child at this party, even though it's months or too early. Oh boy. And they say, okay, well, this can be happening, and decide, well, okay, well, it seems to be happening, so let's just take her to the hospital just to make sure. And they take her there, and the doctors say, yeah, this is really weird, what's going on? But apparently the child is fully dilated. So they get the kid out, and it appears that he seems to have some disorder that makes him age physically faster than he really does. But mentally, he still stays the same as he is, as his age. Or at least that's what they say, though at the age of 10, he acts like a freaking 4-year-old. So, yeah, I do think that they're lying about that. No, his mental stability only stays till the age of 4. So they decide what anyone should do. Rip off Frozen. Well, sort of make the Frozen thing since this came out in the 90s, but still, nowadays we can say that ripped off Frozen. Some parents find out something odd about their child that happens at an early age, and they decide to lock the kid away for it forever. Just like Frozen. I mean, really. Why is this like Frozen? I don't know. I guess that this was Frozen's inspiration. Really, it wouldn't surprise me. So they decide to keep him in this house, and then we see the natural progression of how this affects him and how this affects the media. If they ever find out about this, or they skip 10 years. Yep. 10 years later, then we get to see what's been going on. No, nothing interesting else happened in those 10 years. No, nothing. Nothing interesting happened in those 5 years. Just, he was doing stuff. That's all you need to know. He was just doing stuff while he was physically growing faster than his mental stability. Nothing interesting happened then. And he is being taught by homeschool, again, nothing wrong with it, that is being taught by Bill Cosby, because I guess he's a teacher now. And by the way, Bill Cosby is playing Lawrence here, and he doesn't do a bad job. I'll talk about him later. So yeah, now all of a sudden he decides after 10 years of living on his own, of living in this house, what does he decide? I want to leave. I want to go to school. And his parents, even though they never wanted to do this, say, okay, let's go to school. Alright. And now he's at school. So, what interesting thing happens there? How do people react to it? They really don't. I mean, the biggest that we get is that they say that he's a freak until they can use him to cheat. Then they think that he's awesome. Yeah, they use him to cheat at basketball. They use him to cheat with their schoolwork and their parents. So he's really just there as their go-to guy whenever they need to cheat on stuff. And somehow he never notices this. So while he's getting used to his time at school, he asks his teacher, played by Jennifer Lopez, if she can go to the dance with him because, well, none of the kids, well, he can't really have a dance there if he really can't dance with any of the other kids because then that would look strange. And I guess he cares on how that would look all of a sudden. And she, of course, turns him down because, no, that's really weird. And right as that happens, it turns out that something happened. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched this movie, but even when I did, for one, I wasn't really paying that much attention because I thought it was really stupid, and two, I think it was something about his heart. So basically, something happened, something really big, a big change in him, and his parents are telling him, no, 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 now you gotta stay out of school. And then after a 20-minute long pointless bar scene, yeah, 20 whole minute long pointless bar scene, because the movie would have failed without it, he decides to stay out of school. Yeah, that bar scene is so pointless. I mean, his mom says, no, you can't go to school, then he goes to a bar. And he orders milk, I think. I forgot, really. I said it's been a while. And he gets into a bar fight, gets arrested, then bailed out. Then it's him not going back to school. See how pointless that is? And all his friends are trying to convince him, hey, come back to school, and then he decides, okay, I'll go back to school. Yeah, everyone here is kind of easily convinced here, huh? Like, hey, can I go to school? Okay. Hey, come back to school. Okay. I'm sure the come back to school part does take a whole lot longer in its progression, but it seems only like 5 minutes. I mean, yeah, that does take longer in the progression of, hey, can I go to school? Yeah, okay. But it doesn't make it better. And then, of course, he goes back to school, and then we skip over his whole entire school experience, because, again, nothing interesting happened in that time, apparently. And now he's graduating with white spray paint on his hair. I don't know. I know they're trying to make him look older, but you gotta put in some more effort than that, Coppola. I mean, come on, Coppola. You directed The Godfather. You should know. A can of spray paint does not make an old person. If my hair was white, that wouldn't mean I'm old. So, yeah, the story here is really silly to me. Which would be fine if the premise was actually good and set up. And if they actually dove into it more. Like, they don't really explain this disease that he has. It's just sort of, oh hey, he has a disease, okay. Now I guess he can be a 40-year-old man. Which, yeah, I do think I think I heard that this disease actually does happen, but it's a very rare case, and it hardly ever occurs. So, yeah, there's hardly any chance. And another thing that will help that out a little bit more is maybe instead of skipping over long, huge periods of time and just saying, yeah, this happened, maybe instead just like show us, just like at least a flashback or something, or like a little slideshow, maybe like some videos, like some home videos or something of these 10 years. Like showing us these 10 years of him growing up on his own, maybe showing how he got used to that so school would also be a new experience for him and would be something that he wasn't used to, thus adding on to why he wouldn't fit in that much. But here he kind of acts like he would fit in, but he just doesn't. Yeah, they just sort of say, nope, you don't fit in. Screw you, I guess, goodbye. Yeah, you're a freak, goodbye. Hope you got that, audience. He's a freak. You engaged yet? Or are you finishing up another level of Angry Birds? I don't know. So, really, what it seems to be doing here is that they're skipping over huge amounts of time, like at the school. He's not going to different schools. There are new people at different schools that he could meet. They would, not just those people that he knew from elementary school. No, he would meet some other people. Not just that group and those two girls that he knows. No, he would do some more things and would meet some more people. And maybe again, like in like a video, like maybe a montage moment of showing like, okay, this is him going through the school, and then him gradually getting older and older, and maybe even do a birthday for him once. Like that would be interesting. And then ended on like, okay, now he's an older man, even though it's just spray paint in his hair. But yeah, maybe just try something like that. Like if they were to try and do this idea again with the same director, Francis Ford Coppola, then maybe just try doing something like that. I'm pretty sure he won't be watching this, but yeah, no, he's probably not watching this. But I mean, the guy probably has so much more to do. But yeah, really, just try to do something else. Try to do it in a different way. Make the story a little bit more flowing. And again, if it was executed, if it had good characters, it would be really well done. But the thing is, the characters aren't that good. Jack does not act like a 10-year-old. The other kids, actually, they're kind of good. The adults don't act like adults. They act like they are 10-year-olds. Like the mother blowing the bubbles, the girl from the bar with the pterodactyl laugh. What the heck was she wearing? That's something that a 10-year-old would wear. Don't lie to me, movie. I know who the real 10-year-old with an adult body is. It's her. And the dad, yeah, he's okay. Bill Cosby, I can tell here he's just trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be the guy who's trying to help this kid, but instead I just go up to tree houses and look at porno magazines. I'm a great therapist. Again, I will talk about the characters more later, but God, this was badly executed. The story here, it's just not flowing, it doesn't fit in. It feels like mixed-matched puzzle pieces. Like, at one point they're trying to make it serious, and then they're trying to make it funny, and then they're failing at that comedy that they're trying to do. And then there are some jokes that work, and then there's just stupid stuff, and then there's stuff that doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, there seems to be too many aspects that they're trying to hit with this film, and I just don't think that worked good for the story. So, for the story, 4 out of 10. Could have been worse, but it just didn't work right. The execution of it was flawed, and the delivery was not well received. Okay, so for the characters, I do want to point out one thing. And there will be a few that I will be skipping over. Like the rest of the group of friends aside from Louie. Because they really don't do anything and there's not really a defined character there for me to examine. And also the two little girls, which kind of have something, but they're not on screen long enough for it to actually be shown in its entirety. And also, when they're older, they just seem exactly the same. Like, what's up with that? So let's start off by talking about the biggest issue with the characters, and also the main one, Jack, played by Robin Williams, who, oh my gosh, I hate it when I had to look at a bad Robin Williams performance, because, again, I've said this quite a few times before, that he is my favorite actor, he always will be, and I really do think that he is really good. Like, he knows how to pull off serious, he knows how to pull off funny and lighthearted, he also knows how to be threatening, like in 1 Hour Photo, which I have not seen, but I've heard that that's like a really freaky role from him. So, yeah, I know that he can do a lot of different varieties of acting. Too bad none of that comes out here. Yeah, here he's just a 4-year-old. I know, again, he is a 4-year-old in this performance. He is not 10, he is 4. Because what is he acting like? A freaking 4-year-old. I mean, if you look at the other kids in this movie, they seem to act a little bit more like 10-year-olds, aside from the time where they bring up cooties. I don't know why they do that. But they seem to act like 10-year-olds or 8-year-olds. Except for Williams, who plays it more like a 4-year-old. And the weird thing is, I think that he could actually act like he was 10 in this performance. I mean, he could if he tried. But instead, no. What did we get to see him do? Posing for commercials. We get to see him posing for commercials. Then we get to see the tragic violin music. Why do we need that to emphasize that it's sad that people think that he's a freak? And then what? The bar scene. Yeah, we get the bar scene. Don't get why that's there, but he still plays it like he's a freaking 4-year-old there. 4-year-old who's gone through some trauma, but yeah, 4-year-old. And that's the biggest issue, is that he keeps on acting like a 4-year-old. He doesn't act like an adult. He doesn't act like a 10-year-old. He doesn't know what he's trying to act at. There are moments where, yeah, Robin does try and show that, yeah, this is the moment where he's trying to be more like an adult, and which is why I actually think that the bar scene was put in to try and make it seem like he does actually try to act like how he physically appears. But instead of actually playing it up like that, Williams just plays it as a freaking 4-year-old with trauma. So it doesn't work. And yeah, they do show a little bit later that, like in the end of the movie, where he's giving his speech and everything, where they're trying to show, okay, he has made growth, but the sad thing is that we haven't seen any of that. If we saw some of the growth, then that would have been interesting. But no, what do we get to see? Him pulling a shirt over his head while talking on the phone. By the way, who even does that? Thing is, he tries to play it more like he's doing stand-up. Well, guess what, Williams? You're not doing stand-up here. You were not doing stand-up in this performance. What you were doing here was actually trying to act. Not all your performances need your stand-up. And yes, your stand-up is really funny. Like, I have seen live on Broadway, even though I'm not supposed to. And, yeah, that was really funny. At times. But it didn't need to be inserted into this performance. And I'm pretty sure there were tons of moments where Francis Ford Coppola was just like, stop, stop, stop. What are you doing? Why are you acting like a 4-year-old? Well, he's not gonna stop, so let's just keep on going with it. And I'm pretty sure that's probably what happened, was he just didn't stop doing his stand-up, so they just had to go with it. Because they didn't want to find another actor for it, I guess. But that is the biggest problem, is that he doesn't play it like a 10-year-old like he's supposed to be. He plays it like a 4-year-old. And the best scene where that shows is when he's saying he had a bad dream. Because what does he do then? He comes in footy pajamas, holding a stuffed animal, asking to sleep in his mother and father's bed because he had a bad dream. Oh my gosh. Okay. Maybe if they were going with, like, he tries and acts like this because really he doesn't like the way that he was born, and he was more concerned about how his body works, and this was him, like, trying to shove it off, just like, okay, it's not that big of a deal, you know what, this is how my life's gonna be, I'll just come to accept it, kind of like how Steven Universe does. Then that might eventually result in, like, a breakdown, would be actually really cool. That would be something very good. And they do kind of show that in the bar scene, but the thing is, it's not apparent throughout the rest of the film, so it just seems out of place and pointless. So, Williams could have done much better here. And then, it's his mother, Karen, who likes to blow bubbles as she looks at family photos. We all have our ways of looking at memories, I guess. And there's not much to say about her because we don't really know that much about her. Aside from the fact that she does try and be a supportive mother who doesn't want to see her son get hurt. But the thing is, he's a 10-year-old or a 4-year-old, whichever you would like to look at, with a 4-year-old body. There's no way that no one's gonna mock him. Someone's gonna make fun of him at one point. And you know what? If you don't prepare him for that sort of stuff, then he's not going to be able to come to terms with it. He's going to see it as something that, oh my gosh, someone made fun of me. What do I do? What am I gonna do about this? Supposed to make fun of them? Am I supposed to cry? What am I supposed to do? And that really doesn't come into play, but I'm pretty sure it happened throughout some of those big gaps in time. And then the same sort of problem does sort of fall onto Brian, her husband, and Jack's dad, who is a little bit more played like an adult here, because, I mean, he does actually play it a little bit more like, okay, yeah, I am an adult, but I'm still gonna try and be a support father. But, for one, what's his job? Why was he taking pictures of weird ladies on Carrot? Really, what was he doing there? And he doesn't really show up for most of the movie, so we don't really know anything about him either. Same could be said for Jennifer Lopez's character. Mrs. Something. I really don't even know how to say her name in this movie. Where she plays it like, oh yeah, I'm trying to be a good teacher for the parts that I'm in. Yeah, she's only there in like the beginning after rejecting Williams, and she's never seen again. Yeah, really, she just disappears. Nothing really to say about her. And now we go on to one of the actually important characters that does show up, Louie. Okay, now the character Louie, I will give credit, it's one of the few characters that actually does kinda act like a 10-year-old. Until the treehouse moment. Really, what was that? Really, who asked stuff like that? Like, do you think our mothers look like that? Who would ask that? Now, he actually is very important to the story, as, well, he is one of the few friends that Jack actually makes, apparently throughout his whole life, seeing as by the end of this movie, he doesn't seem to know anyone else. And, yeah, he does act a little bit more like a 10-year-old, but it's still not that great of a her performance. I know it is a kid actor. Kid actors do try their best when they try and do things. They really do try. But this one seems could have been good. I mean, he might have been Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense, but who actually played very well. But he doesn't. He just he's just too far away from the part that he's trying to play. And his personality sort of changes by the time that he's talking about his report that he did. He's just like, oh yeah, now I want to talk about my best friend Jack. I'm like, when did you guys become best friends? And also, how'd you have a whole set of paper on Jack? I've only known him for like a few weeks. Definitely not enough time to know so much things about him that you can't at least write a report. How would you do that? Why would you do that? What was that report even about? I think it was about, like, what I want to be when I grow up, which, yeah, okay, that sort of thing actually does come up in school a lot. But was he the last one to do his? I mean, no one else seems to come up after him. Just Jack's back. Okay. Oh, look, he broke his table again. Ha ha. Breaking stuff is funny now. And he just doesn't play his performance that well. He seems to switch tones right after that class scene, which is really like the last scene. So there's not really that much that comes from him. Then there's Lawrence, played by Bill Cosby, who, again, doesn't do that bad. He's actually pretty good here. You can tell that he did try with this one, and there are some moments where, yeah, okay, he did a pretty good job. I feel so bad for him in that treehouse scene where he had to eat that stuff. God. What was that stuff? God, what was it? But it does seem like he did kind of play it pretty neutral. He didn't really have that much of a identity to him aside from he's the helpful guy, I guess. But he doesn't really do that much to give to the performance, and nothing really happens with him. Oh, and one thing that I forgot to bring up with Karen is that the one good decision that she makes is actually the one that no one in the movie seems to agree with. Having Jack leave school. Yeah, I forgot to bring that up. That's like the one good decision that she makes, but as a parent at least. But then it hardly lasts, and really, he couldn't get any school done. Really, what school is he getting done there by having her dress up like that? I mean, like, she got dressed up like a samurai, like a cardboard cutout version of the Power Rangers. What school lesson was that? Like, yeah, I want you to do the history of samurais, but to do that we have to roleplay. What were they doing? Did he even learn anything at his house? Seeing as he acts like a 4-year-old, I probably doubt it. And so, yeah, most of the characters here, they don't really bring that much to their performances, and the ones that did have potential, they don't really seem to either stay in the movie for that long, or their occupations are very confusing and bring up a lot of questions, or you just wonder why they were even there in the first place. Like Jennifer Lopez, we really didn't need. I mean, yeah, okay, we needed a teacher, but we didn't really need so many scenes with her. And seeing as her last appearance is really when Robin Williams is when Jack is asking her to the dance. Which, yeah, okay, now I just now remembered why, he fell down the stairs after that is because he had growing pains. Sorry, I forgot about that. Like I said, it's been a while. So yeah, the characters don't really get that much done. They're either underplayed or they're way too overplayed. So for the characters, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 10. I know, that's a really low rating, but they didn't really bring that much. And if they were executed well, then that would have been fine. But if they had just simple personalities like they did, but they weren't. So, yeah. Now, the movie itself isn't that bad. I've definitely seen worse, even from Ron Williams, which I will look at what I think is the worst Ron Williams movie that I've seen so far in December. Just saying, I will look at it. But they definitely have worse. All the actors here have probably done worse. I mean, I haven't really seen where the kid actors went, and yeah, some of the kid actors are pretty good. Like the two little girls, for the most scenes, for the like 3 scenes that they're in, they do give out a good amount of like, yeah, okay, they are little kids. They would act like that. So some of the kids do act well, although I don't know why they were hit with water balloons. Really, the boys look at women in magazines, but then when actual girls are at their treehouse begging to come in, no, we can't have girls balloon throw. Let's throw balloons at them. All the girls are evil for some reason now. So the movie's really confused on what it wants to be. Can't really seem to tell whether it wants to be either an adult film, which is really weird, seeing as this movie was rated PG-13. Really, who rated this PG-13? That's something that I really have a question on. Like, why is this rated PG-13? What was PG-13 about? Like, what, the bar scene? The fact that there were dirty magazine nods in it? There were some of those in G movies. God, learn your ratings, people. Really, what was up with that rating? I don't get that. Like, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, that one's PG, and there's killing in that. There's a lot of gore, and there's swearing, yet this one, no, they have references to dirty magazines. That one must be PG-13. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, that just has blood, gore, killing, murders, arrests, and also cussing. But this one has a little bit of cussing, and also has some dirty magazines. We must make this PG-13, people. So yeah, I don't really get that. I don't get the rating, but I guess I'm one of you. But the movie can't tell whether or not it wants to be for adults or for kids. But I think it's much more for kids. Like, again, that's one reason why this rating makes no sense to me, because this is a kid's film. This is so obviously a kid or a family film. So that families will watch with their kids just to occupy them. So it doesn't really feel like it's warranting of that rating. Maybe like a PG, I guess, but not PG-13. I ranted about that rating for too long, but yeah, so it didn't really seem to have that much done with it. The execution is faulty. The characters aren't that strong or memorable. The story is all over the place. So for that, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Not the worst, but could have been done a heck of a lot better. And next week, I'm going to be looking at A House on Haunted Hill. The original with Vincent Price, not the reboot. That one looks stupid. So yeah, bye.